Okay, road committee meeting. Okay, first order of business is to elect a chairman.
I nominate Tom Gore.
I second it.
I think you did that before, but.
Any discussion? All in favor?
These are all legal voting members, are they?
All legal voting members, yep.
I saw none in opposition, all right.
No
We
opposition.
can switch chairs.
And
Works for you. But Dick, I would ask that you make some minutes of that motion, and,
you got a pen?
Yeah.
I thought you were
Over there.
looking for.
I'll let you sit in the middle.
all right, thanks.
Scott.
Thanks.
I didn't want to get any better, we'll dive back into it.
Is that action duly recorded, sir?
Just a moment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next order of business I'd like to take up, if everybody's in agreement, is agreeing on a method of approving minutes without having to convene to do so. And the reason is because I think the selectmen should be working with approved minutes as opposed to unapproved minutes or receiving unofficial information. In other words, I think they should have a set of minutes that say everybody agrees that this is what the committee did. Does everybody agree with that, first of all?
agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Perfect.
Obviously, we can do this by email, and my suggestion would be that the secretary, who normally in these types of committees operates in the same manner the town clerk does, becomes the official vote counter, that the secretary who would put the minutes together then email them to all members of the committee, and that we respond either favorably or unfavorably, or if we wish to make a correction, we do so in an email and send that to every other member of the committee. Does that make sense? And then there can be a discussion if there is a wish to change something in the minutes of the meeting, and at some point in time, when we reach a consensus on what those minutes say, boom, we can, the secretary can collect the votes of everybody in agreement. Does that
Sounds
make sense to you?
logical. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. But we do need to go through the process of making sure that everybody agrees that that's what the minutes say, okay? So if you do get a copy of the minutes and there's some change that you think should be made in there, don't hesitate to respond to the secretary and say that, but respond to everybody else too, so that they can have some input on it. All right, so we're agreed that that's the way we're going to work this process? Okay. The next item on the agenda is to deal with the forms for reimbursement for travel to get the counters set up, et cetera. You have one, Jack, I think, and anybody else have one? Is this,
That's it.
okay?
I can give you an update on that. I'm gonna pull the counters, they've been out for 2 weeks in the 10 roads that we did 3 years ago. Cindy and I asked when we were up there if we would have to do another traffic count in the fall where the other one was older, and they said no, they can factor that in, so. I was gonna ask them when I go up whether or not they would be mailing us a copy of the traffic count. I know you can get it on their website.
Website?
I can call, Mac is on vacation next week. I was gonna return him, and he said no, he says he's on vacation, so I was gonna do it next Tuesday. But now, the state DOT guy, he's around town with them, because they got him around town on the state roads, and he's gonna pick them up here at the town hall, so I won't have to go back up to Augusta.
Okay, all right,
So-
all right.
When are you going to pick them up, Jack?
I'm gonna pick them up off the road tomorrow morning, yeah.
Well, I noticed today Shapley's got them all over the place too.
Well, it's the DOT, he's in the area. I says, let me have your name, his name's Anthony. I says, in case Mac calls me next week and says, where's my counters? He says, oh no, he says, I already talked to him. So,
Okay.
it'll save us a trip back up there.
Good, thank you, Jack.
So that's what, that's the mileage we had, and I don't know what,
Okay.
who we submitted to, and I signed it, and I don't know what else.
Well, okay, that's fine. I think there's an area, a space here for department head signatures, and we have
Yeah.
2 department heads that are going to be splitting this bill, I assume. And this is there's only one bill, right? And there will be an additional bill when you finish picking up for...
No, that's it.
Oh, this is it?
That's all.
Okay.
That's it.
then without objection, if there is no objection, I'll ask Scott to sign this now, and we'll get David to sign it, and indicate to the selectmen that this should be split. Does that work for you?
Yes.
All right, then, Scott, would you please?
And this is the map that's gonna go back with the counters, and also I made I made up a list of the roads, and they wanted to know when they were put on the roads and when they were taken off the roads. Everything's marked on the calendar, the locations and everything. They're in the same exact locations they were 3 years ago.
Okay, and that's going back to DOT,
This is going
right?
to the DOT
DOT.
tomorrow with the counters, which they told me to leave them at the town hall.
Okay, all right,
I'll probably leave them with Jennifer tomorrow morning.
all right. Very good. Any questions on that for Jack? Anybody have any questions on, everybody's happy with that? All right. So the counters will be done.
We'll be done with them.
Done with tomorrow.
And like I say, I don't know when they'll have the counts out or whether or not, but I'll call Mac next week, I got his number, and I'll ask him if we're gonna get a
Copy.
a copy of that sent to I'll have it sent to the town hall,
Yep.
to the road committee.
Very good, okay. Next item is discuss of how we're going to approach the job of negotiating with owners, as the selectmen have requested, proper turnarounds. Now, I assume that we are in agreement that when talking about the proper turnarounds, we have talked about the turnarounds that have previously been identified in Dick's report from January of last year, right? And that's the Peck Road turnaround, the Willow Street, and the Buzzell Road turnaround? Okay.
Yep.
There was some discussion when I met with the selectmen that there wasn't agreement with respect to the Buzzell Road turnaround. Does anybody remember any disagreement with respect to that turnaround? Okay.
Yeah, because we can't go over part of the private road.
Right.
And then get a turnaround easement beyond it. That's like being a little bit pregnant.
Yeah, but
If
there
you're
was
gonna, yeah.
no disagreement on the
Yeah.
proposal.
And,
Okay.
but we had discussed going, just not doing it at all because there's nothing there. I don't know if you've driven down, seen it, Tom, or, of course you know that.
Well, Dick's report seems to indicate that the town road, and this is consistent with my memory, ends at the intersection between Langley Shores and Buzzell Road. But I know there's been contention about that over the years, too. And I wish David was here to pick up on that.
As to where the town way,
Well, what David would like to do, too, because I think it's important that we have David
who?
agree.
Yeah.
David, our road commissioner for District 2, who will be plowing that during the winter.
No.
Is he the one?
no.
Oh, he's not, that's yours?
Scott's.
Scott's.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get old, sorry about that, okay. All right,
That's why
so, okay, all right. Thank you, Dick, for straightening me out. I welcome being straightened out. So you own that, okay?
I know one time.
And you are, oh, that's right, okay, that's the split deal.
Right.
Okay, so, you agree that the turnaround should be at the intersection between Buzzell and Langley Shores, is that correct?
I agree that it'd been nice to have a turnaround down there. I respect all of Dick's information of saying, long as that the town, the forefathers say that we do not have no rights down in there,
Right.
I will stop. But it's all, I've always plowed, for years, I plowed the whole road.
Right.
Then I went back and we stopped plowing it. Then I went back plowing the whole road. And I've always thought in my terms that we own so much of that
Of
road.
Langley Shores, or Buzzell
Buzzell
Road down the hill. Buzzell
Right,
Road,
so
Buzzell
far,
Road down the
so
hill to the old
So
farm.
I've always turned around down at that first house. Long as I have it in paper, or, the the selectmen say that we have no rights down in there, I will, because I don't want nobody mad at me.
Right.
Saying it's my decision that we shouldn't be down in there, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, that's why we did it this way,
Yeah.
and supposedly, all we're looking for is the selectmen to back up the decision so that all of a sudden they're not taking it out on you.
Right.
Right.
No, I got a question, Tom. Do the selectmen want us to contact the property owners?
Selectmen would like this committee to undertake the job of contacting the property owners, and working through the negotiation process, not obviously concluding the
Yeah.
negotiation, but working with the road commissioner, for instance, the Peck Road, an area has to be
Well,
defined.
I gave you a copy of the easement.
For-
The turnaround easement.
Oh, yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think probably
The
the
draft.
first thing is they should have the lawyer, word it the way the town wants it worded. I mean, we're not lawyers.
That's correct. And-
And then we could go to the property owners and say, hey, let them look it over, let them bring it, to their lawyers or whatever, and then, once they sign it, it's a done deal, correct?
Well, it would be, except that if I were a property owner, okay, I would be concerned with this document, because it doesn't make clear to me what rights you're giving up to this property or what rights you're assigning to the
And
town.
that's why I say,
Right.
with the lawyers, the town legal
Right,
counsel.
right.
Drawing it up, okay, the way they want it worded, and, all you gotta add to it is a legal description of the property.
Right.
And it should spell out in there what they're actually granting.
Right, and I
This
think
way
that will be
it
done.
covers the road commission.
The selectmen have agreed to do that, working with the lawyer, okay? What they would like us to do, if, for instance, let's talk about the Peck Road, going to the Sovereigns
Yeah,
and the Hammonds and with the appropriate road commissioner and saying, okay, gentlemen, we would like a right to turn around equipment here and to plow snow into this particular area, describe that area, maybe draw up a little sketch of it with dimensions on it, et cetera, and have, if we're talking about the Peck Road, Mr. Hammond and Jim Soverell, agree to this, informally, and then we have something that can be worked into the draft document, okay? And in the process of doing that, we'd be describing what, in fact, we're going to do with this land, what we can do with it and what we can't do with it, and then that could be incorporated in this document. In various situations, that may change, because in some cases, I'm sure we're gonna need to cut down some trees, move some stone walls. and-
Willow Street is gonna be,
That's gonna be a little project.
That's
yeah.
gonna be a job.
Well, as I,
But we own we have the property there, is that correct?
No.
no,
We don't? Okay. Because I was reading, is that still a private road?
No,
Willow Street?
no. It was
just never
accepted,
finished.
It was never finished, it's like Edgecombe.
Right, it wasn't finished, but.
it was accepted and with the condition at the town meeting.
Right.
That a turnaround be provided.
Oh, in other words, the approval for that subdivision never included a turnaround? Right, but there's a map that goes with that, right? We have this is Langley Shores, this isn't the map, here's the Willow Street map. There's no dedicated area on this map for the turnaround?
I don't believe so.
This one,
We have 50, this is the end here, right?
I would see, this would be the designated area.
This would be the designated turnaround area?
Right.
The,
I mean, that's what I could foresee.
But this is what's been accepted right here, right?
No.
This is not part of the land, oh, I see, okay. So we have,
So we're turning around right here now.
what I would recommend is that, seeing more or less the town's fault that we didn't follow through when it was accepted at the time, that I'd like Scott to consider whether it's worth trying to fight them to get them to do it, or whether he'd be willing to do it if we turn around and get clarification, that the landowner knows and signs off that we are, more or less
Right.
put in writing that if you go up there and you clear off and dig out and smooth out, cut
Right, I
some bushes
mean,
and whatnot, then he's not gonna come screaming and say, what are you doing, what are you doing?
Right, I mean, I foresee this problem that we're never gonna get this person to go in and create a turnaround for it. I
So,
mean,
but are you willing to turn around and do the physical work
Yes,
if we get the permission?
right, and I would probably turn that over to the voters on like a small special project or something like that.
Now, do I understand by the person we're talking about here is What's Left LLC, the owner of
Yeah.
that subdivision, is that correct? Do we have a name for him? We must, somewhere.
I can't remember.
Berwick, he's down in Berwick.
Yeah, he's down in, I don't know.
I don't know
But
the name.
So-
Lorraine can give me his address.
Okay, so when the town accepted this road, they accepted what is the finished right-of-way now, but they did not accept, is that our understanding, this portion that is 50 feet wide bounded by Lot 11 and Lot 9, as I'm looking at it on this map? It appears to me that there's a parcel here that is within the bounds of the road.
Yes. It looks that way to me too,
Yeah.
but it just never got completed.
Right,
Whether
so
we-
the construction and the turnaround, you mean, never got completed?
Right.
But it could well be that the town has title to this, that when they accepted Willow Street, that this was presumed to be a portion of that.
It could be town land.
Then we need to at least get in touch with him and see if he agrees that this was conveyed to the town as part of the conveyance of Willow Street.
Or,
Start there.
Or the tax map down in Alfred,
Or the title map, but.
title map. right.
But I think the best way is to go directly to him and ask him if it's his understanding that when he conveyed Willow Street to the town, that this portion was conveyed also. And I suspect, from looking at this map anyway, the way this is done, that it wasn't that map.
This is the subdivision map.
Okay, so here's the portion we're talking about, right here.
No, up in here somewhere. Right now, he's turning around
Right.
in this driveway here.
Yeah.
Right. But this is the portion where Scott is saying he would like to,
Well, I see that's the only possible spot.
Well, how
just,
about right at the end there, if you clear a spot right on the end there?
I mean, it'd be a lot more
It's a big
involved.
embankment there.
Yeah, that's a
It'd be
big,
a lot more,
that's a lot of
more
junk.
money involved in
Well,
creating a
yeah, but I
turnaround.
say,
But if the town does own that and have right to that, which Tom kind of pointed out, that, I mean, you follow them guidelines, that kind of falls within Willow Street.
so that would involve you backing up. If you plowed to the end, it involves you backing up 130 feet, plus another 50 feet here, is what happens. You plow it
Right.
into an embankment, right, and then back up and would turn around in there?
Right.
I think the best thing would be, just go down sometime and then we all know exactly what we're
Right.
talking about and,
Okay. But I think the first thing to do is to see if he agrees that this was conveyed with Willow Street.
Right.
And so we all have that understanding, okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
It does.
And
well,
we need to get, I'd like to have his name,
yeah, Colby Ricker.
oh, okay, oh, all right, yep, I came across that name earlier today when I was reading somewhere. Colby,
Ricker,
Ricker,
he
right.
lives, I don't know, either down in Berwick.
Someone had said that he lives in Berwick.
Yeah.
okay, but this address isn't correct up here. What's Left LLC? That's not a
Well,
working address.
Yeah, but see, when we accepted Willow Street, we accepted from
Right.
here down to here.
Right,
Okay?
right.
And that does not include any side streets.
Well, let's see what he says.
I don't know, one of the, just had the article over there, well, it's right here.
I don't know that this was defined as a side street, but it looks to me like that's just a right of way in there, but let me just check with him and see, okay? Does that make sense? And if he agrees that he conveyed that to the town, then if there's still dispute about it, we can simply get him to sign a quitclaim deed for it. Define the piece of property and get him to sign a quitclaim deed to the town, right?
Yeah, but as I say, kind of nice to turn around and have Scott right there, so we know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm not proposing that we move ahead on this until,
Yeah.
but first of all, let's find out if the town does own it. Because getting into the end of this, it looks to me like, of course, we have this other right-of-way up, oh, that's just a right-of-way, though. That's not necessarily anything other than a right-of-way.
And that's all this is, too. It's a right away.
Well,
The embankment's right here, right? Right in this area.
Yeah, right on the end.
Yeah, right on the end.
Because that, that's what I thought when we went down there before, that you'd have to cut that embankment
Yeah.
back to, so you'd be able to do a turnaround.
It'd be quite entailed there. That one would be a lot more.
A lot of ledge in there, isn't there? Yeah.
As I look at this, this is defined here, this is not defined separately from Willow Street, but let's just ask first, because we'll save a lot of hassle if that'll work. If it doesn't work, then we'll go the next step, right? So, okay, Colby Ricker, okay. I don't suppose
It
you
was
want to call
Colby
it.
Ricker before it became Willow. Colby Ricker,
Oh, Colby Ricker Road,
yeah.
Yeah.
Before it became Willow.
okay, all right. Okay, so, let's go back over this for a minute. The committee, as it consists tonight, is unanimously consents to agree that the termination of the Buzzell Road is at the intersection of Langley Shores and Buzzell Road, or is there, I didn't sense any dissension before, I just want to make sure that everybody's in agreement on this.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
long as it's,
Yeah.
long as.
Long as
we-
it's
we all-
okay.
Okay,
Well,
everybody
as
agrees to it,
selectmen, they're
okay, okay. Well,
In the property that the guy passed away, the property that he was using to back in his driveway, so, he's gone,
passed on.
so the new owner might say, hey, I don't want you, so now what do you do
Right,
then? He's
right,
gotta
right.
back all the way up the hill.
that's the same old story we've been living with for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if he's got something in writing,
Right.
boom, it's done.
Okay, so, and I do want to check with David on this, though, when he gets back, but we'll see. Okay, so we've taken care of that, and now that leaves us with, no, wait a minute. Taking care of the Buzzell Road, we've taken care of Willow Street, at least we have a direction, and Peck Road is the one that remains. And that,
Last weekend, Jim Soverell
Yeah.
happened to be at my house, and so I happened to mention it to him. And he had no problem whatsoever. I says,
okay,
what it is a case of Dave going down and kind of laying out.
right,
He thinks that there's no need to push back any stone walls. All he wants is the permission to be able to level off and to be able to turn his truck around within the stone wall. And from the end of the paved portion of Peck Road, he's got to decide how far down he wants to go. Whether
Okay.
he can do it with 50, or whether he wants 100, maybe you
Yep.
say 100 feet
Yep.
easement, down within the stone wall. And that way, if he has to, there's only a couple of small trees, a couple maples that have grown up, maybe if he cuts out that, Hammond isn't gonna come out and jump all over and whatnot, but as long as we don't push back the stone walls. But it's a case of getting hold of Hammond.
okay, all right, so.
He's running the house now, so he's not, I guess, what is he, out in New York somewhere?
Renting the house? Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But I think Jim was gonna talk to the neighbor anyway, to alert him that, the town is looking at it.
And when the Peck Road was discontinued down there, I assume that what happened was that the dividing line was established right in the middle of the right-of-way?
Right,
Half
and
to half?
half and half, that's why we gotta go
Right.
to the,
Both, yeah,
one side to the,
all right. Next question is, who wants to do what? I will see if I can get in touch with Colby Ricker, unless somebody else wants to do it. You've already begun a discussion with Jim. I was gonna offer to do that too, but since you've begun that discussion, I don't see Jim that often, unfortunately.
if you want, I'll see if I can get hold of John Hammond.
Okay, good.
And if you get hold of Colby Ricker, I mean, I'll do all the site,
Right, work, right.
all the site evaluation
Yeah.
of meeting with him or talking with him or.
Okay. Well, I think the issue, the first thing I'm gonna ask him is, was it his understanding that when he conveyed Willow Street to the town, he conveyed this area right in here? Just so we know who thinks they own what there, so we don't get into a dispute later on. Once we get that decided, then we can go down and take a look and see if that is gonna work for you, and if that's the best deal, or if there's something else that you
Right.
think you need to do.
And probably the next step would be calling a surveyor just to
Confirm it, right, and tidy it up. right.
tidy it up, so
Yeah.
we know exactly
Yeah.
where we are on that.
And you'd have enough room, it looks like this is close to 100 feet wide down here, this area.
Yeah,
right in this area.
75, I was
Seven-
thinking.
75, okay.
Yeah.
Which is plenty of room for snow and everything else.
Right. Excellent.
Is everybody happy?
We're happy.
Do you have a secretary?
No. Our
Yeah.
secretary that we had, this is done in a very, very underhanded manner. David is working on it.
Oh, I thought
David-
it was all confirmed.
Well, it was confirmed, and then I had an email from David about a week or so ago that said, no, she couldn't, family problems, she couldn't do it. So,
Who's that?
somebody David had lined up to do the secretarial work. Meanwhile, we still have Dick. We're not for long. We'll replace Dick.
Like I
That's
said,
what
my
we'll
wife's
do.
still interested in doing it.
I know, I'm not sure that's a good plan, but if we.
I don't see no problems with it.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
Well,
She's not gonna
It's
be
free help.
voting or anything.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
All right. If no.
I have no problem, and you else have a
Right.
problem.
No, I'm,
You know,
All
I
right.
got one, just ask a quick question. Have you been up here to get sworn in here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Cindy, you have.
So
to-
everybody's been sworn in?
Yeah, yeah. Let me just run that proposal by the town clerk, who is the guardian of morals and ethics and law
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah.
town, and the selectmen,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, all
No, but
right?
as I say,
Yeah.
if none of us have a problem, and if they don't have a problem, you know,
Right,
I don't-
right.
they'll solve our.
I don't have a problem with it, I just didn't want to put Scott in a difficult position here. But if Holly wants to do it, I
Well,
certainly.
no,
don't
I mean,
have a problem with it.
you heard her at the last meeting,
Yeah.
she said she'd do it.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, well, I will, David had somebody else in mind that he wanted to talk to. We will, I'll see where he is.
We'll leave it up
with
to
that,
you.
And, okay, thank you. So my job for the next meeting is talk with selectmen about secretary and clerk. And clerk, have to write this down, otherwise I will not remember. And I also have to,
And
Write a
what I'll
letter to
try to
Mr. Ricker.
do with DOT up there is try to get a printed report,
okay.
attention of Tom Gore, Acton Road Committee. Well, you're the chair.
Thank you.
Well, all it does, it's just gonna give you a traffic count,
Okay, yeah.
a summer traffic count. So we'll have it, you know.
Couple of quick questions. Do we want to pursue the matter of road striping as a committee?
I would like to.
I think it means a lot to older people. I'd like to hear more about it.
We were wiser people. We're wiser people.
We don't see as well as we used to.
That's right. I don't see as well as I used to.
Money could be spent better in other ways.
Yeah, but it's so minor, when you're talking only, you know, a couple of grand out
Yeah,
of
but that
hundreds of thousands.
could maybe pave an
But
eighth of a
also,
mile or
it's a
something.
safety issue. I never really thought about it until all of a sudden it came up, and all of a sudden, I find myself on the roads that aren't striped. It's just a kind of a normal situation to sit there and ride down the middle. And this is fine as long as nobody's coming.
That's
Well,
right.
But as I say, it kind of lets you know where, you know, what side that you should be on.
Well, there's difference of opinion within the committee. There will be difference of opinion on the floor of the town meeting. Go ahead.
David Langley, who, you know, he's
Yeah.
responded to a lot
Yeah.
of calls and says, it's something that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
Well,
so.
Okay.
I mean, you don't wanna see someone
no,
have it happen for a first time, but it isn't something
No.
that's,
but as I say.
I don't know, that's the way I
The,
feel about it. I'd rather see the money spent in other ways.
That's a perfectly legitimate argument. And I respect that, and I think reflects some of the concern of the selectmen also, or not the selectmen, but the road commissioners. Next question I have for you, but my sense is that there is some interest in the committee, so we can pursue it to the end, develop the case for or against based on some facts, as opposed to trying to guess what the facts are, and then if we want to go further with it, we can take it to the town meeting.
Sounds
Well,
good.
Well, I mean, there's, to me,
Anytime you want to meet with these property owners, I'd be glad to go along.
Okay.
Just-
I mean, to me, there's only, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a fact is that, yes, I mean, the road should be at least 21 to 22 feet wide. There are certain areas in the town that them roads are that wide. The state does not recommend striping the roads unless they're 21 to 22 feet wide.
Okay,
So that's one of my main concerns.
that's an argument, that's.
They talk about side striping, no, not doing the center line, but doing the white on the outside.
But that still takes away
A little
almost a
bit on
foot
the-
on this
yeah.
side of the road and a foot on this side of the road. So now you're down, if you only have a 19.6 road or a 20-foot road, now you're down to, because no one wants to hug that white line, that's one of my safety issues.
Well, let's get those arguments out all before us lined up and see what the favor and against.
More likely,
and then,
nothing
make a case.
would happen before the next annual town meeting, so I think we
Right.
got time
Plenty
to,
of time
And
to lay it
Bob
all
Smith
out.
was the one that really did
Neither-
the work on it.
if all of
He did a nice
enough
job.
interest
Yeah.
develops, we'll have something to present it next June.
Yep, yep.
If not, to die.
Makes sense to me. Okay, now, the next question is RSMS. Does anybody know of anybody that has any data on a computer from that program anywhere?
Well, David Winchell should. I mean, I guess apparently you
Winchell
can
still
never...
does?
Well, apparently you never lose it off the computer.
My understanding was that he lost the computer, he lost the hard drive on it. Is that, that's why I wish
I
David...
don't know what they did.
Okay,
What he
okay.
gave me didn't give me the information.
I called when we couldn't get the information, I
Yep.
called his wife,
Yeah,
and she said that when she had the computer repaired, all that stuff was removed. She said, I don't have it anymore. Now,
That
I
could well
called
be.
Dennis Long twice. He was gonna look through his paperwork and see if he had a copy of all that information. In other words, that information went from Carl and Pam to the town hall. And then where it went from there,
okay, all right. So, and Dennis hasn't gotten back to you with anything
never
on
did,
it?
I'll
Okay.
call him, I'll call him again tomorrow.
So I need to,
I think that's a dead issue.
well, I
We've been
think,
battling it for 2 years.
Yeah.
We can't,
Right, I mean,
you may be right, I just want to check with
Well,
David.
the other thing I think of too is, you know this, because you've been to the meetings with the DOT, that this RSMS, there's other programs now that they're using
Have
instead of
replaced
this.
it, right.
right.
But
I
it's
mean,
just a shame that all that inventory, unless we just go out and do all the inventory over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I recommend that we have DOT, Phil Curtis, come down and give us a class
Yeah.
right here in the town.
What they're gonna
Yeah.
use.
The
in the
newest
future.
update,
Yeah.
all that, and all the information
And then
stays
get it
right in this
on
town
a
hall.
computer here at the town hall, so that, anybody can go in, whether it be planning board, road commissioners,
Yeah.
your
It was-
building inspector, code enforcement officer, anybody should have access to that information.
A
at the
very
town hall.
sorry loss of all that information we've already lost.
Yeah,
But, I mean, I think we should start fresh, have the,
yeah.
RMS come right here and-
Yeah.
That's what we did originally, is have them come down and teach the class when we did it at first.
Let me ask,
They came down, and they were excellent.
let me ask one more question. There was a program in the fire department a number of years ago to have a computer that mapped all the roads of the town. Would that have been involved in this at all, or?
probably
It
more
should
with
be.
the planning board with 911,
that was
probably.
the 911.
Yeah,
Okay.
it should be. There's a plan for FEMA called Road Tracker.
Yeah.
And I know DOT was trying to, the RSMS program could be compatible with that to get it in, so they both work together. This is our road inventory, and if without this, we kind of can't get the extra money.
Yeah, right. And we don't have our history.
No, if you don't have an inventory, that you have nowhere to start.
Right.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions or comments that they'd like to make?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At the last meeting, I think it was Scott that brought up the subject of waivers for, road closing. We have a problem, so that if all of a sudden it comes springtime, and all of a sudden, road commissioner closes the road, but all of a sudden somebody wants permission to,
Special permit?
yeah, it's like,
Right.
so that, I think, if I remember right, you wanted to have it such that there would be like a form that you get them to sign so that.
Right,
all of a
saying that
sudden,
any
you know,
damages are being
So
done.
that it acknowledges that the guy knows the conditions that the road commission, instead of turning around and all of a
Well,
sudden.
instead of the good old boy effect saying, yeah, you can run the road,
Yeah.
then he staves up the whole road, and it's like, well, you said I could.
Yeah,
You know, at least it's something on paper saying that he's,
What the conditions are too,
Yeah,
should state what the conditions
Legal
have to be
conditions.
in order for him to travel over it.
yeah. So just to have something in writing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether,
That
you
was
know
a good
of anybody that might have a form that we could,
I think the state police might have some type of form, or York County, I think they talked about some kind of form. Far as, some people do, some town halls, I'm not sure exactly, but some town halls do have a piece of papers from the road commissioner or from the
we'll look
fire
into it,
department.
Tom.
Okay.
And then
I think
present
so.
it at a,
This is how I kind of got in this spot.
again, we get till next spring.
Well, I think it's a good idea, I think it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
it's
a
one
real
of those things you
good
don't think
idea.
about,
Yeah, Right,
The guy comes up to the road commissioner and says, hey, I got a job down here, I'll just be in, a couple times. And then
Skinner.
all of a sudden, so he says, yeah, okay, you can have it. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, he comes back and the road's all torn to pieces, the guy's been hauling in, 16 hours a day, big loads and whatnot,
Yep.
got the road all torn up.
Right.
Then they turn around, he said, well, you told me I could, it was okay.
right. Yes, it definitely would be a good idea to have it on a piece of paper, so that everybody
Most
knows.
definitely, 'cause
Everybody knows what the
I'm
terms are.
very reluctant of saying, yeah, you can do, it's happened, I'm not saying it hasn't, but I'm very reluctant of giving that okay, because, road postings are road postings, and it's pretty cut and dry when they say roads have gotta be solidly frozen, below 32 degrees, and no water in the cracks. You gotta meet all three criterias of that, and that's pretty tough when it comes to, so people think it's 32 degree, below 32, oh, I can run the roads.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really
Temperature
solidly
just dropped
frozen
below
anymore.
Right,
It's like,
yeah. Okay, yes, that definitely is a good idea. Thank you, Dick, for bringing that up. I had forgotten that was discussed, but I do remember it now. Anything else?
make a motion, meeting adjourned.
I heard that. All in favor? Opposed? Guess the motion passes. The meeting is concluded, and we will move on with this, and we won't discuss a date for the next meeting now, but I would say
Yeah.
in probably a month or so, maybe a little bit less.